2011.
Another!
Help me, I'm poor.
You're gonna survive.
I drive.
This all day.
We had a big night, bitch.
Let's finish this the way we started. Forget about it.
I'll just say it. I slept with someone.
If you keep talking, I'm gonna get out of the car.
I think this... Oh my God! Help!
There's lots of beautiful women in this bar, but I can't take my eyes off of you.
It's time to go home.
Oh, it's forward of you, but okay.
Yeah.
Should I pull the car around? Have you been drinking? I'll drive.
She's your soulmate, right? Go get her back.
Wow, how old are you?
Welcome to Quantum Recast. My name is Nick. Corey is not here this week. He is in the Amazon studying spiders, allegedly, or whatever. That's the excuse I'm going to give. Here today with us, we have Allie Dale.
Well, hello there.
Hello, hello. And joining us from the East Coast is Cass.
Heyo.
Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Hey.
So, if you clicked on this podcast, on this episode, you've seen the title Crazy Stupid Love in 1993. That is not a mistype, is not a typo. We are actually taking this movie to 1993 because that's what we do on Quantum Recast is we take movies forwards and backwards in time and we give them a brand new cast. But before we do that, we want to just cover some quick social pushes and things of that nature. If you like us, if you enjoy us, follow us on social media. We're on all of the major things. Trust me, I would know. At Quantum Recast, just look that up. You'll find us. We're also on TikTok, Instagram, all of the above. If you want to like and subscribe, obviously, if you're on Spotify and your podcast, it's a little different on each one. Give us a heart, give us a like, subscribe, give us a review. We also like that. That helps us move up the algorithm, the almighty algorithm, Allie Dale.
For sure.
But yeah, we thank you for joining us today. And yes, as it says, we are going to be covering Crazy Stupid Love. And it came out in 2011, and we're moving it to 1993. One of the better rom-coms, I would say, in the last 10, 15 years that's come out. And we just felt like a little late Valentine's treat to give to everybody. We thought it would be nice,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Cass, Allie, do you have any? Allie, you've seen the movie, and Cass, you recently just watched it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we are all on board. We're all aware. We've seen it.
Yep.
But before we dive in too far, I just want to give some quick little factoids about the movie. So, Crazy Stupid Love was released on July 29th, 2011. The title, the filmmakers offered a free iPad on set to whoever came up with the title for the movie.
That tracks for 2011, honestly.
Honestly, it's a very 2011 story right there. Steve Carell has said he hates the title of the film. He says he couldn't imagine a group of college guys saying, 5 tickets to Crazy Stupid Love, please. One of the titles he preferred was The Wingmen, which he felt was a boring title, but it more accurately describes the film's plot. Which is true, but that makes it feel more like a frat movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say there are men among us that aren't afraid to go say Crazy Stupid Love because Corey, myself, and a couple other gentlemen went to go watch during the release of My Bloody Valentine 3D. Decided instead to go watch Les Miserables and cry like a bunch of girls.
Nothing wrong with that.
Or just very strong men that are capable of their feelings.
Absolutely.
We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
That's right.
If they left to go, they left My Bloody Valentine, they did the smartest move. So
it's true.
You're not wrong.
It was funny because there was a line waiting for My Bloody Valentine, and we just had to walk up to the ticket taker and go and hand them the tickets. Like, all right, Les Mis, all right, that's theater 3 down the hall. While all these other people are just waiting.
Was it a lot of girls? Was it because of Jensen Ackles?
No, it was a mix of different people.
Okay.
There was nobody in the Les Mis line. Let me be clear. It was all the Bloody Valentine line.
All right.
So, Crazy Stupid Love released on July 29th, 2011. Directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Arequa. I think I said those right. I had confidence, so I'm going to move forward.
Sure.
They directed Focus and I Love You, Philip Morris together, and John went on to make Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with Tina Fey after that. So an interesting group of movies. I really enjoyed I Love You, Philip Morris. I haven't seen Focus yet. Have you guys seen it?
I don't think I've seen any of those three.
Okay.
No.
Very cool, very cool. It's written by Dan Fogelman. He has an interesting filmography for his writing credits. Cars 2, Tangled, Bolt, Fred Claus, and Las Vegas are his highlights. Not quite what I expected.
Nope.
But there might be a thread there. Cass,
I mean, like Fred Claus, I feel like would just kind of make sense for Crazy Stupid Love, but everything else being like,
Fred Claus is the real connective tissue here.
Yeah.
I feel like, because that premise is Santa has a brother that's Vince Vaughn, and that's pretty. Yeah, that's the good bridge here to build.
Mhm.
For sure. Fogelman started writing the screenplay in 2009 about a love among a group of people. So it's one of those multi-storyline rom-coms like Love Actually, like Valentine's Day. But it's based on his own experiences, and it was written with Steve Carell in mind. After Fogelman sent it to the manager, Steve Carell's manager, within a week, Carell read it and came aboard the project. So that's got to be pretty confidence booster right there. You write a script, and the guy that you wrote it about's like, I'm in.
That's a dream, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
It was also on the Hollywood blacklist, which is not a bad thing. It actually means that it's like a short list of movies that have not been scripts that have not been released yet, and they're very coveted by studios and stuff.
Oh, interesting little factoid.
A weird title to give, because it's like blacklist. You think, oh no, it's like no, it's good. It's good.
It's a good thing.
A budget of $50 million. It made in the box office $145 million, roughly. When you add, PR marketing and all that stuff, that probably evens out. And then I imagine DVD sales and word of mouth is what one of those movies I feel like Blu-ray, it definitely took off. I imagine.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, I think like he was talking about, like the multi-storyline rom-coms. I feel like this is probably. I know a lot of people love Love Actually. This for me is the best movie of the multi-storyline thing, and I think it's because it's more focused. Those have a lot of people. This has three main storylines. You got Steve Carell trying to win back his wife. You've got Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone falling in love. And then you have the weird teenage thing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one way to describe it.
It's the safe way to describe it. But no, I do think when me and Corey were talking about something to do for February, we talked about a rom-com, and that was it was one of those moments where we both were like, Crazy Stupid Love. It's like, yeah, let's do that. Because I do think it's a well-made movie. Not to say rom-coms are all just fluff pieces that are just bottom tier films, but there are solid ones, obviously. But I think this one for me is a top 10 for sure. Where would you guys put it in your rom-com world?
Probably top 20 for me. Maybe top 15.
Okay.
Maybe top 10, because not that I watch a lot of rom-coms, but like it definitely was a good one. And as you were mentioning earlier, it's like it all ties together very, very well with all these characters. So I'd say top 10 for sure. Yeah,
it definitely ties together, especially at one particular point in the movie. By the way, we don't care about spoilers, but it's probably one of the better twists in a rom-com of all places.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Because when they like you said, Cass, when they all converge, it's suddenly just like, oh my god.
Well, yeah, because that's the fun part about the movie, is that you're thinking Emma Stone is just this regular person that falls in love with, like, Ryan Gosling's
just
character,
a girl
and then
in a bar.
Yeah. and then come to find out that she's really Steve Carell's daughter that they had been mentioning the entire movie, calling her Nana.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking just this sweet elderly grandmother.
When do we get to see Nana?
Yeah.
There's gonna be a scene at the veteran elder place. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so fun. Hijinks.
At the retirement home.
It's very simple storytelling, and I think that's the thing about the movie too. It's from the top down. I feel like it's just handled well. The script is really smart and well written. The filmmaking, that's what I noticed the second time around, was just that there is intent with the filmmaking and the directing, and I appreciated that for sure. But speaking of our thoughts and critiques, let's see what the critics had to say in our useless critic stats. All right, well, let's see what these people had to say that we spend way too much time worrying about. On IMDb, the regular people, the general audience, gives it a 7.4 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it 79 out of 100, and the audience gave it 78% out of 100. So pretty straightforward across the board there. Metacritic, the super critical ones, they give it a 68, and then the audience gives it a 7.4. Don't know why they do it that way. We've bemoaned it. We need them to change it. Let's move on. Letterboxd, everybody, the millennial and Gen Z's favorite new movie app, gives it a general consensus of 3.6 among moviegoers. We all have scores on there. Myself and Cass have now given it a 4 out of 5, and Allie Dale has given it a 3.5.
To be fair, if I could give it a 3.75, I would.
Okay,
but there's a very big difference between a 3.5 and a 4.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I could do that, That's what my rating would be.
Yeah, I feel like that's the update Letterboxd needs. Is just a little more incremental
Yes,
scoring.
agreed.
Because there's a big...
How would that star look? Like, because you give it like a half star. Is it
Yeah,
just
you gotta
don't get the
scroll
tits?
it
that would be
across.
terrible now that I think about it.
I think you just move it to a number. You like type
Yeah.
it in, out of 10 or whatever, and they just go with that. Keep it simple. But I actually had it at 3.5, and then I went on the rewatch for the episode. I bumped it up to a 4. There's a big gap between 3.5 and 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have completely different meanings on a ranking system. So
Agreed.
Need some increments, Letterboxd. Come on.
Come on now.
I can agree with 3.75 though, because it's like, I feel like when I was trying to give it the rating, I was like, I either want to say 3.5 stars or 4. I'm just gonna stick with 4 because I really did enjoy this movie.
Yeah. And this was your first time, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
that's fun.
Newbie.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap this up, let's talk about what Roger Ebert thought about the movie. Any wild guesses about his score out of 4?
I'm going to give it a 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah,
Yes.
2.5.
Well, Roger gave it a 3 out of 4 stars. So he really enjoyed it. He said, Crazy Stupid Love is a sweet romantic comedy about good-hearted people. Imagine that. No snark, no raunch, a lot of cynicism, but that's employed only to be corrected. He says nobody here wishes anybody ill. The movie comes out 4 square in favor of marriage. Yes, the characters commit adultery, but they learn their lesson, and there's forgiveness. Forgiveness, Cass. That's what it's about, okay?
Okay.
But he goes on to praise... He goes to praise Marissa Tomei's appearance as a tornado of warm comic energy and really focuses on Gosling. He says he didn't see him as a lounge lizard and pickup artist, which is... Lounge lizard is my new favorite term to just as a descriptor. I've never heard that before, but that's great.
What does that mean?
He's a lounge lizard. He hangs out. He's a womanizer, Cass.
Oh, okay.
Watch out for them. But he says the weird comment he makes is that he says Gosling has as much bullshit as if he'd been Zach Galifianakis all of his life.
I don't.
Now
It's a weird comparison.
It's a weird line, and it's a weird comparison because I feel like this is the first time we really see Ryan's comedic chops, but it's also not a Galifianakis style performance.
No,
at all.
I agree.
So I think he toes the line really well between the dramatic and the more snarky kind of quips and stuff that he throws at Steve Carell.
Definitely.
He says he says the strength of the movie, however formulaic in structure, is that it's slightly more thoughtful about the characters, allows them to have real feelings, even some that surprise them, and it leaves them some room for growth, which I think that's pretty accurate. And again, it goes back to what we initially talked about the movie not having too many characters to follow, but just the right amount where they can kind of weave and interweave out of each other's storylines, and we have time to take with each of them.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah. I think I do. I think that's pretty straightforward. It's a solid movie that like really touches on some things that a lot of rom-coms don't normally, but also has the laughs and stuff. It has the comedy part with its romance and dramedy as well. But I think it's also not afraid to cover, divorce has been covered in like Kramer versus Kramer and things like that, and other movies like it. But this one, like, it allows there to, again, for that kind of redemption to happen a little bit, which you don't really see that often.
Well, I think it does a good job showing that like these two, like the two main couple, Julianne Moore and Steve Carell, that they're high school sweethearts. So it's like it kind of gives them a chance to both grow as people in this like short amount of time when they're like, separated for a little bit, and he's kind of like trying to get his groove back, but I think it just kind of makes him more confident. Where with her, she's just kind of, I think she needed to spend time with her family and realize that, hey, I don't want to be with Kevin Bacon. So
yeah, it's a whole the grass is always greener on the other side situation, where she's unhappy in this marriage because she's been with Cal for since they were 15 or 16 years. Yeah. And, they never got to date anybody else because she got pregnant in high school. And so, if she, loses interest in him and then she realizes, oh, actually, like, this is the person that I do have a connection with him. And yeah.
She also struggled I feel like they didn't dive into it too much, but you could tell she struggled with her, like she definitely had insecurities about herself because of the fact that she was getting older. She just felt like she wasn't as hot anymore. So like when Kevin Bacon's character comes into the picture, it's like, oh, hey, no, I find you attractive. Let's hook up. I actually want to be with you. She started to feel love again. So it's like she felt wanted, like she felt like she could be in quotes hot or whatever. So it took them both growing in this movie, and I think they really do a really good job with it.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree.
Sure. Yeah. And that's really why we picked the movie. I think generally it's just because of the quality of the movie, and that we wanted it to do, like we said, something in February, rom-com, and this one was just one that popped up immediately. And I think the reasons that we've initially discussed, that's why. Normally here we'd say, like, why did you pick the movie? But we've kind of already stated the reasons why, I think, for sure. So we're going to take this movie to 1993. For those of you that are unaware, Bill Clinton became president this year. Michael Jordan and the Bulls capped off their first three-peat, and the Dallas Cowboys were still actually good. Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat duked it out in the video game world and terrorized parents. Aladdin won Best Platformer that year, by the way, on the Genesis. Really great game. Whitney, Mariah, Celine, and Janet were belting out power ballads, while Garth Brooks' grunge and gangster rap dominated the charts. People magazine forewent the sexiest man alive cover in favor of naming Cindy Crawford and Richard Gere as the sexiest couple. They were newlyweds, but they they separated a year later. So yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say what a gorgeous couple, but never mind.
So all that happened, and then some not so cool things happened in Waco and the World Trade Center. Anyway, moving on. So we're here to talk about movies, though, and so we're gonna jump into 1993, give you a scope of lay of the land by talking about the box office, the top 10. We got to see what the people were going to go watch. So, the box office top 10, ladies and gentlemen, here's what it is. At number 10, we have Stallone stopping terrorists on a mountain. Great concept. In Cliffhanger. At number 9, Spielberg made everyone sad at Schindler's List. Really big props for an Oscar movie like that to get big in the top 10. The Pelican Brief, Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington. That was a big kind of thriller type movie. At number 7, Clint Eastwood is still ticking with In the Line of Fire. At number 6, Robert Redford pays Woody Harrelson $1 million to sleep with his wife, Demi Moore, in Indecent Proposal. Wild, I know. At number 5, speaking of great rom-coms, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan meet cute in Sleepless in Seattle. At number 4, Tom Cruise plays a lawyer in The Firm. That's also wild that's number 4 there.
Yeah.
At number 3, Harrison Ford is after the one-armed man in The Fugitive. Great movie. Excellent action movie there. At number 2, Robin Williams tries to win back his wife, Sally Field, by dressing up as Mrs. Doubtfire. And at number 1, Allie Dale, I'm going to give you the honor of saying it.
The best movie ever made, you guys, Jurassic Park.
That's right. Steven Spielberg's did double duty this year with releases. He made Jurassic Park first and then jumped ship to make Schindler's List because he wanted to film in the winter in Poland. So
man, what a tone difference. That must have been tough.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Apparently, speaking of Robin Williams, I know we're talking about a different movie, but he called in during Schindler's List to like kind of keep things light on set for Schindler's List. A lot of heavy subject matter going on there, but a really solid year. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of big movies, but there's also time and spent for those Oscar movies. People still really tuned into like The Firm and Schindler's List, like dramas and stuff. So pretty cool to see some different genres being represented here. Any thoughts on these top 10 briefly?
I'm not gonna lie, I was really surprised that Jurassic Park is number 1. I mean, it is my favorite movie.
Allison,
don't get me wrong.
Allison.
Well, I know, but it is my favorite movie of all time. But I am surprised that it was number 1. And also, Mrs. Doubtfire is number 2, which don't get me wrong, great movie
For sure, yeah.
I rewatched it within the last year or so, and it's phenomenal. It's so good. But very surprised that it was number 2.
Yeah, for sure. Cass, any thoughts before we move on?
I think you all basically
covered it? Got it? Okay. Still processing? Okay, got it.
Yeah, I feel like The Firm really caught me off guard.
The Firm, listen, we're in peak Tom Cruise territory here. So anything that he's going to star in, people are going to go their butts are going to get put in seats. This is the era of the movie star. So we talked about the movies that people went to see with their own money. Let's talk about the critical movies that won awards. So let's talk about the Oscars. Put on your bow ties, your dresses, whatever you want to wear. It's the 90s. Some fashion faux pas are allowed here. So, the 66th Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actress. We have Anna Paquin from The Piano. She was the second youngest competitive Academy Award winner at age 11. Tatum O'Neal is actually age 10. She won in Paper Moon in 1973. Barely beat her out. Just should have tried harder. Supporting actor, we have Tommy Lee Jones for The Fugitive. Unexpected, but he did a great job at it. Just not an Oscar type movie I would have expected.
Yeah.
For Best Actress, we have Holly Hunter also in The Piano. That movie, if you don't know, I'm assuming a lot of our audience doesn't. It's a film that focuses on a mute Scottish woman who travels to a remote island, part of New Zealand, with her young daughter after her arranged marriage to a frontiersman. Very Oscar bait sounding to me.
Mm-hmm.
Best actor goes to Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. If you don't know, that's about an attorney, Andrew Beckett, real life story. He comes to ask help from a personal injury attorney, Denzel Washington, to help him sue his employers because they found out he was gay and also that he had AIDS and fired him. So it's one of those tearjerker style movies, and Hanks goes all in on it.
Oh yeah.
So for the best picture, the nominees are The Fugitive. Way to go, Fugitive!
Well done.
Way
Wow.
to go, guys. The Piano is also there. Remains of the Day. It's an Anthony Hopkins, Emma Thompson movie about a butler who went to World War II and kind of is just reflecting on his life. And then In the Name of the Father was a Daniel Day-Lewis movie. It's kind of about the IRA bombings and he gets him and his father get imprisoned and the British lawyers trying to clear their names. A lot of law movies this year, I guess. But the winner is Schindler's List.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
I have to confess, I have not seen it yet.
I haven't either.
It is on my list.
Oh,
I know
man.
Allison. I know Allie Dale. I know Cass. I know.
It's a
I will
great-
get to it. I promise.
It's a great movie.
But you have to. But to be fair, it is one of those movies you have to be prepared to sit down and
Yes,
watch.
yeah,
Correct.
it is a tough movie to watch, but man, the score by John Williams is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, but it's one that I have only seen maybe once or twice because it
Yeah.
is a really it's tough.
It's
It
not.
is-
It's not a Sunday afternoon movie.
No, it's not just something you pop on in or
Mhm.
anything. It's it you feel things definitely during and then after it.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
Yeah, and Cass,
Well,
you
now-
haven't seen it either.
I have not.
Okay. I'm not alone, Allie. So
Oh well.
But the way that it sounds, I kind of want to watch it because I want to.
you want to
Feel
feel sad
things.
and stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Well, sometimes.
And Allie, I did look it up. Jurassic Park won 3 Academy Awards.
Okay.
Best sound effects editing, and visual effects.
Rightfully so.
So it got Mad Maxed. It won the box office, but it got all the technical awards. It
Hey,
did
I'm cool with that. Although I'm surprised it didn't. I don't know. I wonder who won best score that year
John Williams was not nominated.
for either Schindler's List or Jurassic
Not for
Park.
Jurassic Park. I can't
Oh,
confirm
okay. I was about to
Schindler's List,
say.
but he was not nominated, did not win. So we talked about Oscars. We talked about the top 10 movies. Now we're going to quickly just talk about some notable films that we enjoyed. Now there's a ton of great movies that came out this year. Just to run down a very few of them: Cool Runnings, Demolition Man, Last Action Hero, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Addams Family Values. Tons of great movies. Robin Hood Men in Tights. But Cass, what was one movie that you loved from this year?
I honestly really love Tombstone. That's
Okay.
probably one of my favorite westerns, just because the casting was great.
Yes.
The movie itself was great. Even I also just love Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a really good movie.
For sure. No, it's highly quotable and
Yeah.
very, and we've recasted it before in our podcast in the 70s, actually, if you want to go check that out. But anyway, Allie, what movie do you love, or one that you would like to see, or one that you did watch?
So there are a couple that came out in 93. So I know that The Sandlot and Rookie of the Year both came out in
Mhm.
93.
Yep.
And
Great
both-
baseball year.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, so good. Rookie of the Year was one of my favorites growing up. But one of my absolute favorites outside of Jurassic Park is Homeward Bound.
Ooh.
It hits all the
It's so
feels,
good.
even now at the end, which, sorry, spoilers, because it's a 20 or 30-year-old movie, but the ending scene with Shadow coming back, it's still,
Triumphantly.
oh man, it still hits me in the feels. I still cry every single time I watch it. It's so good.
It is good. It's wild to think it's just they just went out and shot a bunch of 2 dogs and a cat wandering around the woods.
Yeah, wandering around. and then
got Michael J. Fox and Julia Dreyfus to voice them. I can't remember who voices Shadow, but
no, it's Sally Field.
Sally
That's
Field.
sassy.
Oh, I thought it
yeah.
was Julia.
I'm pretty sure it's Sally Field. I'll have to
okay.
double check.
Okay.
But and then I don't remember Shadow, but he was like an older actor that just so sweet.
So good. So good. It's just a real quick half-assed. It is Sally Field. You are correct. Shadow is not top billed here, so
What?
I'll have to look that up later.
Pardon?
But
Don Amici.
Don Amici. Okay, so
Yep.
he wasn't a big name, I guess. That's interesting.
Oh, interesting.
They got two big names. Didn't have the budget for the third one. So, I love both those movies. The one that I want to talk about is one I haven't seen yet. Corey has harped about this one a lot, and I need to just finally sit down and watch it. It's Mike Myers' So I Married an Axe Murderer. San Francisco poet who fears commitment suspects his girlfriend may have a knack for killing off her significant others. So it's a comedy, obviously, dark comedy. And Nancy Travis plays the opposite, his significant other in the movie. But Corey talks his praises a lot and brings it up. I don't know if he's saying you should watch this. Charles Grodin is also in it. He's the guy from Beethoven, the dad in Beethoven movies.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
Phil Hartman from
R.I.P.
Jingle All Be. R.I.P. Rest in peace, good sir. But yeah, I think that's one that I definitely want to watch. It's a early Mike Myers film, so I would definitely want to check it out for sure. So guys, before we've talked about 1993, we've talked about movies, all in and out of it. Before we jump into casting, I want to ask, how do you guys think this movie changes? Allie, do you have any thoughts?
Well, one thing that would definitely change. So one pretty important part of Crazy Stupid Love is the scene where Ryan Gosling takes Emma Stone home for the first time, and she's asking him, "Hey, what's your move? Like, what happens next?" And finally, she gets it out of him, and he says that he does the Dirty Dancing move. Well, Dirty Dancing came out in what, 80? I don't remember exactly what year.
1986. I believe the year was 1987.
87.
Yeah.
So it hasn't even been 10 years. I mean, it's only been 6 years.
Yeah.
So what dance would they use instead? Or what would his move be instead
feel like
of that?
it's within possibility because like they were growing up. They probably watched the movie. He's thinking, oh, all these girls love this movie. It's a timeless movie. So it could very well be the one. But like you said, like there could be something that they call on that's further back, maybe that's a little more well known, I guess, or it has been more timeless, I guess, has aged more. It's like a wine, really.
Yeah.
Where do you think they'd shop at? Because like all the places that they like went to, like meaning Cal and what was Ryan Gosling's character, Jacob?
Jacob.
Where would they shop at?
Well, it'd still be a mall. It would definitely still be a mall.
Yeah, it'd still be a mall.
It might be a strip mall. We're starting towards that trend. You know, the 80s was all about the malls. And where they're at in the movie is more of an outdoor LA mall, if I believe, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
No, in 93, I think it's probably still a mall. I don't think it's an exterior strip mall type area just yet. Maybe in LA it is. I wasn't in LA in the 90s. But one movie that I thought, maybe going back to the dance move, was it could be alterated to be like them singing the summer love song.
I was thinking from Grease. Yeah. I was thinking maybe something from Grease would be
like, I could see him like turns on the song and she's like, "This is so stupid," and he's like, "It works, I promise." And he's like, "Summer lovin'," and then suddenly she's like, "Yeah, I know every word to the song. Yes, okay." And then they start dancing and singing. That could be also a very fun moment. But the Dirty Dancing move is just it's perfect because it's a physical thing. Like they haven't. She came up to him in the bar and kissed him, but this was where they're supposed to get very intimate.
Yeah,
and like she's got the nerves and stuff, and it's where they kind of just literally dive into it.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So it's a hard one to top or to like rewrite by any means. But,
yeah,
and that's really all I think about. You know, there's not a lot that I feel like would change in terms of dynamics and stuff. I think, you know, we literally talked about Mrs. Doubtfire coming out in the same year, so we're going to kind of have a twin movie of sorts, and it's also dealing with like divorce and separation. So it's not like divorce it's still a taboo subject in parts of the country, and even then it was still kind of a thing. But I think that it still would be as is, and people would still have conversations about it.
We're just gonna make divorce the main topic of 1993 with
divorce in 93
with Mrs. Doubtfire and
is the nuclear family falling apart. But no, Cass, I pointing to you, is there anything you can think of other than what we've talked about that might change?
No, I was just thinking, I mean, of course, like, because I was trying to think about even like technology, but I really felt like they weren't using as much technology in the movie.
Because when she takes the photos, when Jessica, the teenage babysitter, takes the photos, she's using a camera. Like, I believe she does a disposable camera to do it, or like
she might have a Polaroid.
Yeah,
might have a Polaroid.
It could be a Polaroid. It could still be disposable. I think she uses a camera.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, because she uses a printer to print them out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that just some technology changes. Not a lot of cell phone uses in the movie, if I remember correctly.
No.
But yeah,
no, because even the kid. The 13-year-old boy and Robbie and Jessica won't be texting each other,
right? Yeah,
as much. Like I feel like
there would be. You just have to work around that. There would be different ways for them to communicate. If it's note passing potentially, or it's just them having a conversation in front of each other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much all I could think of that you would change, which makes our life easy.
So much easier.
So guys, are you ready to recast Crazy Stupid Love in 1993?
I am ready.
I am ready.
Awesome.
1993.
Blast from the past!
Right, can't hear you!
There are a few provisos.
What's this? Didn't kill my wife! I don't care! Welcome to Jurassic Park.
You have now arrived.
But before we get into casting, guys, we have rules. We gotta have some rules. We can't just go willy-nilly into 1993 casting anybody and everybody.
Nope.
What?
So, to break down the rules real quick. Number 1, Any actor we choose must be alive in the year we travel to. We can't bring anyone back from the dead. We're time travelers. We're not necromancers, guys. Number 2. Anyone we bring back must be free to do so. They cannot be incarcerated, in prison, etc. Prisoners of war. We're torn on pregnancy, but it doesn't come off that often. Number 3. Anyone we pitch must be active, and we define that as they must have at least one IMDb credit in the year we travel to or years prior. We have one child on the cast list, Robbie. And we do have a flex rule with kids because casting kids is tough. Finding them with our rules that we've set in place. So we're allowing some wiggle room there, if you will. A little more guidelines there.
Yeah.
And finally, the 4th rule, any actors we choose, and this is important, if we choose them, they will lose all major film credits for the year we have traveled to. We don't count TV, we don't count Broadway voiceovers. That makes it a little easier, so we're not having to cross all the T's, dot all the I's. But this means we just can't go in and pick anybody. Sorry, Nicolas Cage, you're going to lose all 20 movies you made that year. Anyway, into casting, you guys, the way it works is that Cass and Allie will be the ones casting. They will present me with a cast list, and we will go one by one through the cast. And I will choose between which one I like. Now, I am given 2 power-ups in case I want to make some changes. The first one, which we don't use that often, is the switcheroo. So if I have casted somebody at any time, I can swap them out. If somebody further down the chain, I'm like, you know what? Let me switch this up. I can do that. Now, the big one, obviously, is the override. So if you guys present something to me and I'm just like, I'm not feeling this. I got my own pick here. I can insert my own actor or actress into said role, but I must do it at the time of casting. Mm-hmm. Got it? Everybody on board so far? Good.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Wonderful. So first off, we're going to do 30 seconds or less, and this is just a round where we kind of tackle a lot of the lesser actors or characters, the ones that are fun, we love them, but we don't have a lot of time to dive into every single actor or actress in this movie. So the ones that we're going to tackle this episode, I'll scroll down here to the bottom of the list here. We have Richard, played by Josh Groban. He is the full of himself lawyer who's dating Hannah at the start of the movie. We have Liz, played by Liz or Liza Capria. That's Hannah's best friend. She's begging Hannah to ditch Richard for Jacob. We have Kate, played by Marissa Tomei. She is Robbie's teacher, we find out later, who has a one-night stand with Cal, played by Steve Carell. And Bernie, who is Jessica's father, the babysitter, he's played by John Carroll Lynch, great character actor. Mm-hmm. And at the top of our 30 seconds or less, we have David Lindhagen, played by the one and only Kevin Bacon. He is Mr. Steal Your Girl, but we don't hate him, strangely enough. We're just kind of like, we don't like you, but you're Kevin Bacon, so it's okay, I guess, for now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'd agree with that.
The name David Lindhagen is said 19 times in the movie.
I believe it.
And the other alternative fact is that Kevin and Ryan Gosling are distant cousins.
What?
Both descendants of the English Baldwin family.
What?
Really weird. Really weird.
That's really strange.
Anyway, so let's dive in. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to say a name and flipping the imaginary coin in the air. Cass, you're going to go first. So when I say a name, you'll just give me who you got. And Allie, you'll just repeat right after her right off the bat.
Alrighty.
We'll try to knock this out in 30 seconds or less. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Richard, Cass.
John Cusack.
Jim Carrey.
John Cusack. Interesting. And Jim Carrey. Oh, okay.
It's right before his 94 streak, so
okay.
Might be fun.
Okay. I'm gonna go John Cusack here.
That's fair.
That's a bold move there, Cotton, but it didn't quite play out there. But we'll keep moving. Liz, Cass.
Julia Roberts.
Okay, big guns.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'm going Drew Barrymore. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Kate. Yes.
Karen Allen.
Karen Allen. Indiana Jones fame.
Yep.
That's right. Yes. Okay, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Good. I like that. You don't see her in roles like that, or
no.
You really don't see her at all outside of indie movies, or Scrooged. She was in Scrooged.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Allie, who do you have?
Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange, a classic all-time beauty. The Karen Allen one. That's interesting. I like it. Let's go with that.
That's a good one.
I like that one for sure. Okay. Bernie. Cass, who you got?
John Candy.
Oh, I love some John Candy.
Oh, man.
That's really good.
That is a good one.
Allie, who do you have?
John Goodman.
Oh!
All the Johns.
Okay. Thinking quickly. Okay, who do I want to see try to murder our Steve Carell? I could see John Goodman do it. John Candy, I'm gonna laugh, but I'm not gonna believe that he could physically harm.
He's a sweetie pie.
Yeah, it's gotta be John Goodman. I'm sorry, Cass. We gotta move on.
It's
and
fine.
lastly,
Before his death.
Oh yeah, I know. Listen. Don't. I already know. We don't get him in this show enough. And last but not least, David Lindehagen. Cass, who do you got?
Harrison Ford.
Indiana Jones.
I was thinking about that.
Of the devil. Okay. Wow. All right. Okay. Allie, who do you have?
Mr. Babe himself, Emilio Estevez.
Estevez. Oh, God.
How old was he?
He's in his late 20s.
No, I think it was in his mid to late
30s.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Let's double check this real quick. So it might be a younger man.
Which is fine. That still works out.
Listen, Cougars, we appreciate all ages. He's born 62, so that would make him 31 at this point.
Yeah,
younger
man.
Pretty young.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna gamble. Let's go for a younger man. Let's have our lady have some get some real crazy rumors going around here in the office place. Okay, all right. I felt like that was fun. That's a pretty fun little cast there. There's some bigger names here, but again, it's kind of like with these multi-storyline movies. Sometimes you get bigger names in these smaller roles like this with these rom-coms.
Absolutely,
especially. It's like, hey, you got a day or two to come out, film a little scene real quick, have a little fun, So yeah, I think that's a solid start to our cast here. Very good. Emilio's going to have a lot of fun with that. Goodman, how can you not love Goodman? Carrie Allen's going to have a lot of fun in the Kate role.
Yes,
I think. Yeah,
I think so too.
And then Barrymore, she's going to have a small role, but it's going to be interesting for sure. Mm-hmm. She gets to have all those fun one-liners. The original actress Liza Lapria, when Gosling's just talking to her, and it's just like, and she's like, "Hey, are you interested?" She's just like, "I love you."
Yeah,
like just dead beat, perfect. Okay, well, that was a good 30 seconds or less round, but now we got to move into the main cast. So we're starting it off with Jessica, which will follow by Robbie, then Hannah, Jacob, Emily, and rounding it out with Cal. And we'll dive into each of these one by one, but we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up with Jessica, who is played by Leo Tipton.
He doesn't even know that I'm in love with him.
With who?
With him.
Are you pointing at me?
You're pointing at him?
She's pointing at him?
Oh. Wait, my dad is the older guy you've been seeing?
I knew it!
No, he doesn't even know about the naked photos.
What?
You can just... Jessica!
Leo Tipton. Most people will know her from this movie, but she's also in 2022's Vengeance. That was a BJ Novak movie. She's also in Mississippi Grind, Warm Bodies, and The Green Hornet. Jessica is a 17-year-old babysitter who watched the Weaver's kids and is in love with Cal while Robbie is in love with her. She even goes so far as to send nude photos. Scandalous.
Yeah.
This is... I can't even... I don't even know if you could say it aged well even at the time it came out. It just...
That is one issue I have with the movie is that aspect of it is a little weird. I think it's cute that he's in love with her, but the whole nude thing is
might have
been
a step too far.
You're an adult giving a 13-year-old
like
nudes.
I think you could have seen it where, like, I don't know, she had taken them at the house or something because like it was a time of privacy, and then they find the photos. I don't know, but it's an awkward thing for sure.
Yeah.
But in the sake of the story, it's just she's the 17-year-old who's in love with the dad, and Robbie's in love with her, so it creates tension between the dad and son.
Mm-hmm.
Emma Stone is only 3 days older than Leo Tipton.
Really?
So the fact that she's playing a 17-year-old to Hannah's approximately 24, 25-year-old is interesting, but that's just how casting goes in Hollywood sometimes. And you would much rather a 20-something play someone who's allegedly sending nudes versus a underage person, obviously.
Truth.
Sure.
Listen, there's a fine line we're trying to ride here, guys. I'm trying to think positive here, all right? So, Jessica, played by Leo Tipton. Cass, you went first in the 30 seconds or less round, so Allie, it is going to be up to you to give us your casting choice first.
Alrighty. So, like you mentioned, Leo Tipton is her name, right? You said?
Yes.
She was about 22 or 23 whenever she was in this role, so I decided to cast around that age.
Okay.
This person is free, and I think that she would do a great job, and I'm bringing you Christina Applegate.
Christina Applegate. So, she's probably only doing Married with Children at this point. TV show. We don't count it, but that's what people will know her of this era.
Yes.
I could see that. Yeah, in that show, she definitely plays kind of like the... not rebellious, but just like a teenager that's acting out a bit. She goes out and parties a little bit and stuff. So it would be interesting kind of turn of events to see her playing more of like the good girl, without lack of a better term, that's like discovering herself. We'll say,
trying to navigate through all of these weird feelings that are popping up.
For sure.
Yeah. She lived a sheltered life. Like that's kind of the term to use for her. That she kind of just that's why she asked like the pretty, like popular, rebellious girl at school, like, how am I supposed to get an older man to like fall for me? And it's like, you got to seduce him, you got to take pictures. So that,
So I think that's interesting. I don't think. I think actor-wise, I think she can pull it off. I think it'll be interesting to see if people will accept, like, oh, this girl from Married with Children playing the naivete character.
Yeah.
But Cass, who do you have to counter?
So I went with the actual age. So I did go with the 17-year-old.
Daring for both of you, yeah.
I'm taking her out of her like first like actual movie, but she was also in TV shows beforehand. I am taking Alicia Silverstone out of The Grudge, which itself is kind of problematic, but also fitting for the role itself because she's trying to seduce her neighbor.
Yeah, it's a journalist becomes an unwanted center of attention for a 14-year-old girl who proceeds to sabotage his life after she refuses her sexual advances. So it's like this movie is kind of the darker subplot of Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah. What's the name of this movie?
It's called
The Crush.
Yeah, The Crush.
Oh, The Crush. Okay,
yeah.
okay. I didn't catch that at first.
Carrie Elvis is the writer in the story. So they had a lot of problems. Hollywood's got a lot of problems. You should look into some of this stuff. That's all I'm going to say about it. Yeah, it's an interesting choice there because you're literally taking her out of one movie and putting her into another, and she's generally doing the same thing. But at the same time, I'm also like, it's more innocent, so that is a good thing because this movie does not age well at all.
But it's like, I think the one good thing about this movie is that Cal is not making any advances towards Jessica.
Yes,
so like it's just Jessica's having this like, you know, for someone which I don't want to put myself into like this like these shoes. I have like at 17 liked older like guys, not dads. I've never gone through that.
Okay,
but like. Safe, you know, it's like you could on the pod, sure. On the
podcast that goes out to the internet.
Yeah. But like just saying that like you like a lot of 17-year-olds can have like these crushes, but obviously Cal is a good dad, he's a good husband, he's not a predator. So he like I think this movie's a lot more tame than what The Crush would be.
Yes. I could see the logic there. That's definitely it's interesting. I didn't expect to come across another like twin movie scenario here in this kind of world that we're in right now. And Alicia Silverstone, the actress herself, I think that's I think she's definitely sexualized at this age and beyond. I mean, she's in the Aerosmith music videos, and then obviously Clueless comes out not far after this. So you both chose very attractive female actresses. We'll say that. And with Leo, I feel like they went for a little bit more of like the quirky kind of like not so immediately like bombshell type. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
She is an attractive girl, I think so for sure. But she's a little against what you typically would imagine.
Yeah, because I think that was a couple years before Two Night Stand that she did with Miles Teller, and like in that movie, like I think she was kind of like, you know, not the partier or so, but she was trying to get herself out there and stuff. So it's very, but she was attractive. So,
but I think that it's a slight alteration, but I think you can still have her either just be having the crush on the guy and she's asking her friends for advice. Maybe the quirky aspect of it isn't there as much, but both these actresses can play likable, down to earth types as well.
Definitely.
So I think that plays in their favor. Between the two, I feel torn here. But I think I'm going to go Alicia Silverstone.
That's fair.
Because I think she can play that age well. She's of the age, but I think that she'll have a lot of fun playing like annoyed at Robbie, swooning over the Cal character, and then also we'll get her out of that movie and we'll probably save everybody do everybody a favor there. So Alicia Silverstone, write it down. She's on the board, and we will move on. So, up next, we have Robbie, who is played by Jonah. I'm going to try to say this name without it sounding weird. Jonah Bobo? Jonah Bobo? I don't know.
Say that. I think it's just Bobo,
Yeah, Bobo. Interesting last name.
So, David, I hear you broke up my parents' marriage. You are David Lindhagen, right?
Lindhagen.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Lindhagen.
Jonah Bobo, he is basically known for this movie. He's also in Zathura. If you watch that, it's the quasi semi spiritual successor of Jumanji.
Yeah.
And he's also Austin in the Backyardigans. If anybody is a fan of that, I have no idea what I just said.
Yeah.
But
The Backyardigans.
Yeah.
No idea.
Cass, do you have any experience with the Backyardigans?
Not me.
Okay.
But it's a kids animated show. So
Got it. Right,
it came
right.
out in like
past
2000.
my time.
So yeah, I had cousins.
Yeah, we all weren't quite in the uncle and aunt phase, but we weren't in childhood younger sibling phase anymore, so it's there. But Robbie is Cal and Emily's preteen son who is head over heels in love with Jessica. When Jonah's character Robbie is deleting Jessica's number from his cell phone, you can read another contact in the phone, which is Joey K, who is Joey King, who plays his younger sister.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't cast her obviously, but she's just kind of there.
Yeah,
she has a few fun lines, but Joey King goes on to become a bigger deal, obviously, in movies.
Sure.
Do you not know who Joey King is?
No, I know who she is. I think this is the only role I like her in.
Well, that's different, Cass. Your opinion and facts are two completely different things.
That's cool, though.
But it's one fun note somebody brought up was that Robbie's class is studying The Scarlet Letter. The novel is the basis for Emma Stone's previous movie, Easy A.
Oh man, that's a great movie.
Another great movie. Her star-making turn, I would say.
Yeah, Easy A. I was obsessed with that.
It was a good one. So yeah, Robbie, he's obsessed. He's the preteen. He's smitten over an older girl. We've all been there. And he gets his heart broke, but she leaves him a trail of kind of hope, and weirdly gives him the nude photos.
Yeah,
that was awkward.
Could have just had the kiss and call me in 4 years when you're in college and we'll see where we're at kind of thing. But
yeah,
that was again, it's there. 93. We probably just take that out. We move on. That's what changes, guys. We gotta handle the nude photos differently. All right.
They're not handled at all. We're
not
just
handled. Nobody's handling nude photos. Jessica's dad just assumes that something's going on and wants to kill him anyway.
That made me uncomfortable more than anything. Was Jessica's mom coming downstairs and showing Jessica's dad those pictures? I was like, I could not be the father and see my daughter's nudes like that. And he kept looking through. Yeah. Like it wasn't just one.
He did. He studied those. That's let's moving on. So. Cass, you made it, so stop talking about that and talk about who you're going to cast as Robbie, please.
So I wanted to get like a kid actor that was kind of like a little awkward, a little maybe because he was charming too. Like he was definitely smooth with talking with Jessica.
Yeah, so he's weirdly very. He's what the adults like to call an old soul. And awkward. He just knows that's code for your smart ass, but but he's mature for his age and ways. Like he's giving them life advice. And
yeah. Well, that's why Cal's like, how old are you really? Because it's just he's very knowledgeable. But so I went with a 13-year-old, so the same age as Robbie, and I'm sure Jonah.
Jonah, okay.
He was a free agent. He was doing his show at the time.
Okay.
And he did previous stuff. But I did go with Ben Savage of Boy Meets World.
When This Boy Meets World.
Interesting.
Okay. He's Ben Savage on Boy Meets World. He's just the regular Charlie Brown type character. Yeah. He's just the average guy. He's in love with Topanga. I could see him easily being head over heels over some older girl in school and stuff.
I could see that.
That definitely works. Yeah. I'm just sad there's not a spot for Sean. That's all.
Oh, man.
But,
and I was thinking like Ryder Strong, but then I was like, no, I feel like I'm going to go too hit on the nose.
No, Ben Savage is better.
Yeah, Ben Savage
I agree.
Trust your gut. Trust your gut, Cass. Trust your gut there.
I did.
Cass.
He was the first one.
Allie, who did you pick?
Alrighty, so this person did not start acting until 1996, but he falls within the rules because he's a child actor.
Okay, very cool, very cool.
So he started in 1996. He's 15 years old, but if you search him in 1993, he could easily pass for a 12 or 13-year-old. I am bringing you Kyle Howard. Now, if you don't recognize that name, he was in House Arrest with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
And he was also, I don't remember if it's a Disney movie or not, but they're the Paper Brigade. He played Grover. I remember thinking that was one of the most
Sesame
interesting
Street
names
Muppets?
I've ever.
No,
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
He's
I
not
think
the
it was a
puppet?
nick. No, I mean his hair. I mean.
Okay. All right. Okay. House arrest. Okay. Desperate to keep their various parents from getting divorced, a group of teenagers kidnaps them and holds them prisoner in a basement to force them to reconcile.
It's not very good. Just for the record.
No, this sounds incredible. I want to see this.
Yeah, I watched it a lot as a kid. That and the Paper Brigade.
The clips I'm watching, this looks fun.
It's a decent time.
I'm gonna add and his hair.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, his hair is exactly the same as Jonah's hair. It's
That's what I'm
uncanny.
saying.
Where
But
did you watch this growing up?
yeah, I watched House Arrest growing up and
Okay.
Paper Brigade, and I want to say there was another one he was on, but he also made his rounds on like 90s shows, like he was on Home Improvement and stuff like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Just doing little guest spots.
Working his way up.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, interesting. Okay, so House Arrest's own Kyle Howard versus Ben Savage.
Yeah.
I'm going Kyle Howard. I think I want to say just because he's got the good look, it's the hair. The hair is swooning me over. I think Ben Savage would be great.
I think so too.
But I also think Corey would yell at me later too for picking Ben Savage.
I knew that was coming. Corey's not here.
Oh, he's here. He's always here, Cass, in spirit. But no, I do think just from the look of it and kind of observing like his mannerisms in these clips and trailers and stuff, like he's got the look, he's got the vibe. I'm sure. Like, and he's the lead actor in this movie. This movie has not Melissa Joan Hart, who I think Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
Does he get to kiss Jennifer Love Hewitt at the end?
I don't. You're gonna have to watch it, man. I'm not gonna spoil it for you.
All right, add it to the list. Okay, lucky guy. Anyway, write it down. Kyle Howard. Look him up if you haven't seen him before. You'll know. You'll immediately be like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and we don't want Corey to kill Nick. So
I do.
Well. Moving on. So. Up next, we have Hannah, played by Emma Stone.
Okay, I know what happens in the PG-13 version of tonight, all right? I know. It's that I get really drunk, and I pass out, and you cover me with a blanket, and you kiss me on the cheek, and nothing happens. But that's not why I'm here. I am here to bang the hot guy that hit on me at the bar.
Emma Stone, if you don't know her by now, you've been living under a rock for the past 20 years. Last year, she was in Poor Things. She plays the new live-action Cruella. Animation, she was in The Croods, she was in Zombieland, Amazing Spider-Man, Gangster Squad, The Help was a big movie. She's been a lot. She's been a big name.
Yep.
So hot right now. But Hannah is Cal and Emily's older daughter, a pre-law student dating Richard, loser, who eventually ditches him and goes for the stranger at the bar, Jacob. And they have a romance. And then, of course, we find out she's actually their daughter, and it makes some complications there. But while rehearsing the particular scene we've discussed, where Ryan Gosling lifts her up in the Dirty Dancing style, Stone didn't realize she has a phobia of being lifted high until the first time Gosling did it.
Oh, no.
She had a full meltdown, which Gosling described as like a possum falling out of a tree and trying to scratch your eyes out. I did not make this up. Afterwards, she ran away crying, had to lie in bed watching Labyrinth to calm down.
What?
This poor girl. Her phobia came from when she was 7 years old and fell off the high bars in gymnastics and broke both of her arms.
Oh, is this Final Destination? What?
So they ended up using a body double, but they did use the recording of Stone's real screams.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
So they were understanding, they adjusted, but they still were like, oh, we gotta use.
But they also have, I mean, it might as well, if you got it.
If you got it, you can use it, I guess. You know, there's a line here. This movie's all about lines here. So.
Oh, what a
But yeah, this is the first of 3 movies that she and Gosling starred in together. The other 2 were Gangster Squad and La La Land. So another great movie that will make you feel things.
I love La La Land.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, well, you need to get on that, Cass. Add it to the list. So yeah, Hannah, she's character-wise, she's great. She's very relatable type of girl. You know, she's a complete opposite of all the girls that Ryan Gosling's character Jacob is going after, and that's what kind of draws him to her, is her not every woman kind of status, but just more relatableness. And even the night that they're spending together, it's not just jump into the physicalness. It's like they talk and they just get to know each other, and he gets to open up and be a human being with her, and then that's really what makes her stand out. So, Allie, you made it. So who is your Hannah?
Alrighty, so this gal is 23 years old. I am going to be taking her out of a couple of movies. It is Heather Graham. I'm going to be taking her out of Even Cowgirls Get the Blues and 6 Degrees of Separation.
6 Degrees? I've heard that, but is that a Kevin Bacon movie?
That's a great question.
I don't think it is. That was a joke, but
I was about to say.
It might be, but I think that's just a thing that was birthed by itself. But yeah, Heather Graham, she kind of got started in the late 80s. She was in License to Drive, a great movie. She was in Twins too. She was actually the mom in the beginning when she has the twins. Like,
interesting.
She's that girl. But yeah, she has some interesting choices in the early 90s. Nothing like super mainstream. that doesn't really happen until you get to Swingers and really Boogie Nights and Austin Powers.
Yeah, I was gonna say Austin Powers.
And Lost in Space too. Yeah, Austin Powers for sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, I like that choice. I think she often gets put into like the sexy girl, femme fatale type character, but
yeah,
she's funny. I think she has a hidden humor to her that people don't see a lot. So I think this could be a good spot for her potentially. Cass, who do you have to counter?
So I kind of like stuck with like the redhead vibes for both later on when we see who I picked for Emily, but for Hannah, I decided to go with someone that was redheaded as well. She was 25 at the time.
Okay.
She was only in one movie. I don't know the movie. It's called Face the Music. I went with the one and only Molly Ringwald.
Oh, she was on my list too.
Molly Ringwald.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting is that Molly Ringwald kind of, once the 80s and John Hughes are over with, she disappears a bit.
Yeah.
She's still doing stuff. She's still popping up here and there, but nothing where she was at that time, and you could make an argument she was kind of the Emma Stone of that era.
Yeah. No, I agree.
On a preteen or teenager level, I guess.
That's fair.
But yeah, she's relatable. She checks all those boxes for sure. Allie, I have to apologize because I also had Molly Ringwald on my list.
Dang it! I should have just stuck with it because she was one that I had chosen.
Trusted the gut.
Dang it!
That's the thing about this show. You make a choice and you're like, yeah, I got it. And then you start thinking too much. You start trying to play the game, and then you're like, no.
That's all right.
I do appreciate getting Heather Graham some.
I agree.
Some love there because I feel like she gets pigeonholed a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
While it would have been good to like give her this spot here, at the same time, Molly Ringwald's career kind of dies. So I feel like this is a good opportunity to kind of kickstart it a little bit there. So
I should have just stuck with it.
That's
on me.
It's on. You played yourself.
It's the thought that counts.
It is. Yes, for sure. For sure. All right, moving on. Up next, yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, moment that some of you have probably been waiting for. We're going to recast Jacob, played by Ryan Gosling.
You're sitting there with a Supercuts haircut, you're getting drunk on watered-down vodka cranberries like a 14-year-old girl, and you're wearing a 44 when you should be wearing a 42 regular. Honestly, I don't know if I should help you or I should euthanize you.
Ryan Gosling has been known for many things. Most recently, Barbie. He's just Ken. But he's also been in La La Land. Cass, watch that immediately. Blade Runner 2049, Drive, my personal favorite. The Nice Guys, Big Short, Place Beyond the Pines, Lars and the Real Girl. And then much later, and in the 90s, he was Mickey Mouse Club and Young Hercules. So if you happen to watch those. But like we said, he is a lounge lizard and pickup artist in this movie who wants to help Cal regain his self-respect as a man and unexpectedly falls in love with Cal's daughter, Hannah. I guess the best thing that we haven't talked about already is that the cocktail that Jacob drinks is an old-fashioned. If you don't know what an old-fashioned is, it's an American cocktail, usually includes sugar and bitters muddled together, ice bourbon or rye whiskey, and a large slice of orange peel. It is good, I will say. I enjoy old-fashioned here and there.
Yep.
But, Jacob, he's a womanizer type. He's just definitely about the single life until he comes upon Cal, has some empathy for the guy, says, I'm going to take you under my wing, just dress you up. He does the he's all that, she's all that to him. He gets the glow up, the
That's
Wizard
true.
of Ozing going on. And so they dress him up. And then in the process, he becomes magnetized to Hannah and just finally meets somebody that he feels like he has a connection with. And then has to convince Cal to let him date his daughter, which, to be fair... It's hard. It's a hard conversation to have, but luckily Cal's a good enough guy that he's like, I'll never trust you, but I'll never give you my blessing, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think that's pretty much him in a nutshell.
Yeah,
so.
I gotta be honest. I did not get the Ryan Gosling thing until I saw his promos for Barbie, and then it was like, oh, I see it now. I always thought he was an attractive man. Don't get me wrong. But rewatching this movie after coming to that realization, whoo boy!
I think Kat messaged. Yeah, what did you?
I did. I messaged Nick and I was like, "Wow, I always thought Ryan Gosling was attractive, but I didn't know that I was going to be in love with him by the end of this movie."
Oh man!
There you go. So that's what we need. We need a heartthrob. We need a guy with some range for sure. That can be witty, have some quips here and there, but have the heart to hearts. So, Cass, you made it with Molly Ringwald. So who do you got for Jacob?
So I wanted someone that, of course, is attractive, that kind of gives off the Ryan Gosling vibe.
Okay.
I forgot who I had earlier, but I ended up deciding last minute, which I was glad about, because once I saw this name, I wanted to stick with it. Oh, I thought Brad Pitt first, but I decided to change it. I went with George Clooney, who was 32 at the time.
Oh, okay.
And he was only cameoed in a movie called The Harvest.
Yeah, right now he hasn't taken off yet. He's in ER. That's the main thing people know him from. He in the 80s he was in Facts of Life. He was the heartthrob in that show. That's where people got their start with him. But right now, yeah, he's just doing Without Warning, Terror in the Towers TV movie. This movie is about the World Trade Center getting bombed, not 9/11. We're talking about the earlier one.
Oh no,
that happened in February. This movie came out in May.
How?
How? It's a TV movie. I don't know how. I think it's I don't know, a super suspect. But anyway, did a lot of interesting little small roles in movies and stuff. But yes, he hasn't quite taken off yet. But yes, he's in 3 years he does From Dusk Till Dawn, and that's 100% George Clooney. So it's fair to say you can insert him now, and he will still be George Clooney.
Yeah, correct. That's fair.
But Allie, who do you have to counter?
Well, you know what, Cass? It's really interesting that you mentioned Brad Pitt, because that is exactly who I chose.
She brought you Brad Pitt. Oh my God.
He was 30 years old, and I'm taking him out of California with a K and True Romance.
Oh, now True. Okay,
I haven't seen either one. I'll be honest.
That's dangerous, Allie, because that's a fun role for him. He's playing like a drug dealer, if I remember correctly, and like he's involved with like this crime syndicate that's coming after the main characters. But it's a fun role. Like he's got dreads and stuff. Like,
oh my!
Yeah,
well, I mean,
you gotta Google it sometime. You gotta watch it really, but you Google it.
To be fair, though, I mean, this is also a fun role.
It is a fun
role. It's a fun role. I know that it's a little bit, and plus we've learned from Brad Pitt over the last couple of years that he's a fantastic character actor, and so I think this would just be a good time for him.
So yes, we got an Ocean's 11 matchup here, here right now. Both are in similar eras of their lives. I would say that Brad is obviously just going, I'm in movies, and he's doing a lot of character actor work. He's got that luscious long hair. We're talking 7 years in Tibet. We're talking, like we said, True Romance. He's a babe right now. You know, he did Thelma and Louise, I think 2 years before this, and that's where he really took off. But you also got George Clooney over here too. He's also a babe. He's an attractive man.
Yeah.
And they're both charismatic. They kind of got a snarkiness to them when they can. My thought process is going, you know, we did say, yes, Clooney is right about to be George Clooney as we know him. And Brad Pitt is right now being character actor. He doesn't quite enter into that charisma. He doesn't lean into the charisma until the later 90s and stuff. We're talking like, you know, the Sevens, the Mr. and Mrs. Smiths of the world.
Yeah.
So they're both right on the cusp of becoming who they are. So you could argue like this might propel them quicker into it, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm really tempted to gamble here and pull out my override early. And I think I'm going to do it.
Oh, God.
Both choices are excellent, but there is one name that I feel like I want a name. I want the big name for this movie, because a lot of this was sold on like, yeah, you got Steve Carell and everybody loves Steve Carell, but like the whole sell was Ryan Gosling's hot now.
Yeah.
And you're going to look at him and he's charismatic and he's oozing. And there's two names that I've considered for this. And I think I'm going to go for the bigger one because we don't get him on the show that often. I thought about John Stamos. Pull him out of Full House for a minute. I'm going to give you Tom Cruise.
Oh, bro.
I'm going to give you Tom Cruise. That was your other? Oh, no! No! I didn't have to use my override. No!
Son of a bee sting. Oh, that's what I get, man.
So listen, I get it. Yes, he's in The Firm. Have I seen The Firm? I have not. But I do feel like I want to play. Every once in a while, we got to play with fire and burn some bridges, upset some people on this show. And we never get Tom Cruise because he's consistently doing work. He's consistently involved in something. So, and previously on other episodes, we've had him. And we didn't pick him, actually. I don't think we did. So I'm pulling out the Cruise, put him in here. I think it's going to be very similar to the Rain Man role. It's going to be very similar to some of those roles for like Risky Business when he kind of goes in the full form. But this is just going to be Tom Cruise turned up to 11. But he's just going to be at the height of his powers as like this leading man, heartthrob type. I can't can't tell if Cass is upset or if she's
no. I mean,
it.
No, it's fine. I'm
cool
with it. It's Tom Cruise.
Listen, I know that Clooney and Brad Pitt, I would say they are more babes, but I feel like Cruise is in his element right now, and he's on cruise control with it right now, for lack of pun intended there. It might be controversial, but I'm going with Tom Cruise right there. So
still a solid pick.
Allie is staring at me. She's disappointed. She's very disappointed.
So angry.
Are you disappointed
with myself.
in me or
no,
in yourself?
I'm disappointed in myself.
Don't be. Don't.
No. It's just this. That's what I get. That's what I get, man.
Gotta trust the gut. And sometimes the gut
know.
betrays you, though. So we will see.
Dang it.
Moving on into the next round. It's all right, Allie. Just breathe. We gotta breathe. Jump back in.
It's fine.
Right now, we're going to move on. We're the top two here. We've got Emily, played by Julianne Moore.
I think I'm having a midlife crisis, maybe. Can women have midlife crises? In the movies, it's always men having them and buying ridiculous yellow Porsches, but I'm
fertilize. You've got to be sure to fertilize all this.
We got married so young.
You know her from Boogie Nights, Hunger Games, Children of Men, The Hours, Evolution, Big Lebowski, and Allie's least favorite sequel, maybe, of the Jurassic Park movies, The Lost World Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Emily cheats on Cal with David Lindhagen, going through a bit of a midlife crisis, but over the course of the movie realizes she still loves Cal, as we've talked about.
Yep.
Julianne Moore played the mother of Josh Hutcherson's character in The Kids Are All Right, and Kristen Stewart's character in Still Alice. So Jonah, Hutcherson, and Stewart all played siblings in Zathura.
Oh,
interesting.
Wild connection there.
Yeah, that is a pretty wild connection.
But in terms of character for Emily, yeah, she's going through it right now. She's made a grave error. She's betrayed Cal to an extent, but it's highlighting a lot of the issues that they're having. She feels like he's not being there for her. He's not making her feel the way that she feels that she needs to be felt or loved or cared for and stuff. And so that's why she makes this decision. And then through the process of the movie, you've got Robbie kind of talking to her through it and stuff. And then she's teasing with the idea of advancing a relationship with Kevin Baker's David Lindhagen. But Cal keeps coming back and being like, no, I still love you. I still want to be with you. The common theme that keeps recurring is true love being found in the movie, whether it's Cal and Emily, whether it's Jacob and Hannah's first newfound love, or it's Robbie's very idealized love of an older Jessica. But so I took that one, and Allie, you made the one before that. So I'm going to let it go back to you.
Okay.
So tell me who you've got for Emily.
Alrighty. So for Emily, this person is open, so we don't have to take her out of anything.
Okay.
I am going to give you Susan Sarandon. She was 47 at this time.
Okay.
And so I think she would be a fantastic Emily.
Susan Sarandon. Yes.
I love her.
She's strangely it might be the redhead thing, but her and Julianne Moore often, I think, get associated with one another, or it's like, or maybe the same. Generally, sometimes go for the same roles. Obviously, there's an age difference there, but but Susan Sarandon has aged gracefully.
Yeah, she has. And she's a really fantastic actress. And I think that she would be able to do the comedy parts of Emily and also the really sincere moments where, where she forgets how to turn the pilot light on. And so she calls Cal and asks him for help on all of that. Just those really sweet
kind of scene. Like it's, in any other scenario that could be seen as creepy, but it's like he's coming to check on the water and stuff, and like she just happens to call, and it's a good little.
It's very genuine.
Yeah, and the thing is she's got just the right amount of mom energy.
Yes, agreed.
Mom energy is a thing, guys. Got to be important. Keep that in mind.
I think at this point she's had all three of her kids, because I think the year or so before she had Miles Robbins.
Oh, that's
that was around the time she was with Tim Robbins.
That's right.
That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, Cass, speaking of people well, tell me, who do you have to counter Susan Sarandon?
I don't, because I also picked Susan Sarandon.
Hey!
High five from across the stage.
I'm not mad about this.
Literally, she was the first person I casted. I instantly, when I saw Emily and I was looking through trying to figure out who I wanted to pick, Susan Sarandon popped up, and I was like, what's the age? 47? It works perfectly.
Yeah, it's perfect.
No, yeah. The only person that I thought of was Shelley Long from Cheers. This is the final season of that, and she was in the Troop Beverly Hills, was a big movie she did in late 89, and I thought she could have a lot of fun. She has some good mom energy, but she's also a fun comedic actress as well. But yeah, Susan Sarandon, perfect. It's kind of like, yeah, that's pretty much the way to go for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's great. Let's move ahead to our final casting of the evening, the episode, whatever time you're watching this time of day. It's a podcast. There's not a tune-in time, I guess. We're going to cast Cal by Steve Carell.
And I told him, Dad, it's no big deal. I'm going to be going out with a lot of different girls on a lot of different dates. And that is the first time that I ever lied to my father. I met my soulmate when I was 15 years old, and I have loved her every minute of every day since I first bought her that mint chocolate chip cone.
So Cal, played by Steve Carell, who you all know from The Office, Anchorman, 40-Year-Old Virgin, and The Big Short, to name a few. He is, like we've said, recently separated. He's trying to get his mojo back, but also he's still in love with Emily. So while Jacob's throwing women at him left and right, he's still just kind of like, no, I'm still in love with Emily. This doesn't feel right. And he kind of goes through his own journey as well, like kind of getting some confidence more about himself and who he is. At the same time, he kind of goes through this arc of like, initially, it is about like kind of getting back at her for what she did. And he kind of holds it over her head of like, you slept with David Lindehagen. And when she finally has that confrontation after the student-teacher or the teacher-parent conference. And he blurts out like, I slept with 9 women, and the tables turn right there, and and he realizes his error of his ways, and he starts to try to work his way back in. And Steve Carell, I mean, what's not to like about the guy? He's always likable, whether he's playing an over-the-top character like an Anchorman or Office, but here he definitely just plays a grounded character who's clearly just a lost puppy at times at the beginning. But just very likable in the role. And the role of Cal, like, you kind of just really need somebody that's like that, someone that's relatable, somebody that is clearly a dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and with him too is Cal's character. It's a perfect example of growth within a movie because, you know, in the beginning, whenever she mentions that she's having an affair, you know, instead of him he literally shuts her down and then quite literally jumps out of a moving vehicle so that he doesn't have to deal with it. And then later on in the movie, he's talking with her and he says, I should have fought for us. Like, I shouldn't have done that, you know? And it's just this, he grows so much throughout the movie and he's just such a lovable character.
I agree.
Yeah, because it's true. He just gets kind of passive. He just kind of lets it happen when it hits. And part of that's probably shock, but also it's like in the character himself, like he just doesn't have it in him at the time to stand up for it and go like, why would you do this to me? Like, I love you. Like, what do I need to do to fix it? You know, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and for him to admit it too, that, you know, that he should have fought for it. That's not an easy thing to talk with your, you know, potential ex-spouse.
There's
you know?
a lot of great, like, conversations that happen between them that are, again, come back to being real and being honest with each other for sure.
I agree.
Well, again, you tied, and I took the last one. So it's back to you, Allie. So who do you have for Cal?
All right, so Cal is a character who is timid initially, but he can have a glow up.
He can.
So, this actor is 45 years old, and he is open this year. I'm going to give you John Ritter.
John Ritter.
Yep.
Three's Company.
10 Things I Hate About You. 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter.
Yep.
He also played JD's dad in Scrubs. Little fun fact.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. No, hey, Steve Carell, excuse me. He's definitely a dad on The Office. He comes from TV, so John Ritter, kind of the same mindset there. I kind of see the logic of it, and he definitely plays a dad clearly. Later on in his career, you know, rest in peace. Now he's gone too soon. Another one,
absolutely.
But I think he can definitely do it. This year he's doing Heartbeat and The Only Way Out. Is that correct?
I thought he was open, but I could have looked at the wrong year by accident.
It might be some TV movies or something. I'll double check that.
Well, I'm taking him out of those, so
either one.
I haven't heard of either one, so
rings a bell. All right, John Ritter is on the boardcast.
That's a really good pick.
Pretty solid there. Pretty solid.
Cal was the one I struggled with the most because I wanted to at least try to get like, you know, because I wanted to get the awkward, like, you know, lack of confidence, like in the beginning, but then also have like, you know, a little bit of that humor because it is Steve Carell. Like it was written for Steve Carell. So I wanted that sort of same vibe. So I finally stuck with one. He was 48 at the time. He was a free agent and it was only a TV film that he was in. I don't have the name of it, but it was a TV film. I went with Steve Martin.
Oh, okay.
Steve Martin himself, who plays a lot of dads.
He does play a lot of dads.
The dad energy for sure. I could see it. Yeah,
I can see it too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's played dads in the past. You know, this is the era of, you know, he did Parenthood in I think 89, but there's also the Father of the Bride movies that came out in this time. So I believe we're in between them right now. I believe 91 was when the first one came out, and then this part 2 comes out a couple years after this, which he's great in. It just shows another great example. Steve Martin's very likable.
Yeah.
here's my thoughts here. I like both, and Steve Martin obviously loves Steve Martin to death. Like Three Amigos, like you go down a list of all the stuff that he's done in the past. I think that with this role, you need somebody who starts off very believably as a loser.
Yeah.
And between the two of them, Steve Martin's problem is that he is so darn likable.
Yeah.
He has a charisma to him, like it, because he's not just playing dads. John Ritter he was in Three's Company, was just a single guy in that show. But Steve Martin throughout the years has just always had like not a womanizer sense about himself, but he is a likable dude. Like he's played leading men time and time again, you know, in different movies and stuff as well. He's very believable as that. So I think with John Ritter, you're getting more of that disheveled middle-aged dad who's not having a midlife crisis, but is thrown into one and just is again the lost puppy phrasing. I think is a good word for it, and I think that's why I'm going to lean that way, just because it's also John Ritter, and I feel like again we love to give people like their due and give them a shot at have a little something else on the shelf, you know.
Yep.
And I think we would just be stat padding with Steve Martin at this point. Like he's got so many bangers going on at this point in time. But when it comes down to actual acting and the character itself, I do think John Ritter is going to nail what we need specifically going on. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with is John Ritter.
Sweet.
For that. So mark it down.
Yep.
Cass, I believe you've been writing these down for us, thankfully.
I have
not been. I've just been trying to keep it in my head like an idiot. But anyway, now that we're here, I'm going to give the rundown of the final cast for Crazy Stupid Love in 1993. Are you guys ready?
Yes. I'm ready.
So, from the bottom to the top, Richard will be played by John Cusack. Liz, the best friend, will be played by Drew Barrymore. Kate, the one-night stand / English teacher, I believe, will be played by Karen Allen. Against type. Bernie, the dad who is going to go on the rampage, will be played by the lovable but also equally terrifying John Goodman. And David Lindenhagen, will be played by Emilio Estevez. We're going younger here, younger man, treacherous territory here. On the main cast, we have Jessica being played by Alicia Silverstone, saving her from a bad movie. Robbie will be played by the lesser known but likable and perfect haircut for this, Kyle Howard. I'm looking forward to watching his movie, House Arrest. Hannah, originally Emma Stone, will be played by the 80s sweetheart Molly Ringwald, giving her a second chance in her 20s. Jacob will be played by the one and only Tom Cruise. That's going to be the sell right there. That's going to be the moneymaker. That's going to put butts in seats. Emily, equally, everybody agrees, Susan Sarandon is perfect for the role. Woo. And at the top, Cal will be played by the lovable TV dad, John Ritter. And there you have it.
That's a good cast, especially Susan Sarandon as the mom and Molly Ringwald as the daughter.
Yeah, we did go redhead. I wasn't even thinking about redheads, like trying to match that up because, you know, genetics. But that works on a visual sense. I think John Ritter and Susan Sarandon are going to match well and gel well together.
Yep.
The Tom Cruise John Ritter interaction is going to be fun. That's something I didn't also think about. I think if you had Steve Carell and Cruise together, it might have been too much personality.
Yeah.
Like, I know Steve Martin can dial it down a bit.
Yeah.
But I think John Ritter is already molded into like where Tom Cruise can be the outstanding one of the two in those scenes and stuff. And him slapping John Ritter, that's gonna be funny. Like, I would feel more like, oh, don't hit John Ritter. With Steve Martin, you're like, oh, it's slapstick. He gets slapped all the time. So yeah, no, and that's good. Yeah, Molly Ringwald getting a second chance. And then Alicia Silverstone. Yeah, you're adding some star power here. Pretty big. And even in the bottom to the top, for sure. I try to lay off the whole, like, everybody picking A-list because I'm not a big fan of, like, just throwing everybody at the wall that's big names. Right. But it's one of those movies where it kind of, you feel the need for it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we got a solid list here.
Yeah, it's a good one.
For sure.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Yeah.
Great job.
Woo!
Well, that's Crazy Stupid Love in 1993, folks. Let us know what you think. Tell us if you loved it, you hated it. Slide into those DMs and either tell us you love us or hate us. It's Valentine's. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
But be sure to subscribe, hit the like buttons, follow us on social medias at Quantum Recast. Follow us and like us on the social. So we already talked about social media. Follow us on all the streaming apps, whatever you're listening to right now. Scroll up, hit the like, hit the heart, whatever's up there, and then leave a good review. It's really easy. It takes 2 seconds, I promise. We won't charge you for it. But yeah, we appreciate you taking the time to listen to the whole episode. If you've made it this far, please check out all our other episodes and the ones that are coming up. Speaking of which, I believe our next big episode we have coming out. Allie, I think you're coming back on with us.
I will.
We pulled you off the bench here because Corey was again in the Amazon studying spiders. But you're going to come back, and we're going to be doing not an old classic that was renewed, but we're going to take it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing, ladies and gentlemen, we're going out to the West. We haven't done the West in a while, and we're going to take 310 to Yuma. And I believe we're taking it to 1976.
Sweet. Yeah.
So
I've never seen it.
And
so
saddle up. Yeah. You make sure you watch it because it's a fun one. It's a good
just
one.
make a blind casting and just not watch the movie.
I don't know. I just went with this. Oh my God. Well, that's okay, I guess. But yeah, be sure to tune in for that one when it comes out next month. Be sure to hit up all our other ones and minisodes we got coming out. I'm sure we'll have some in between here and there. But Cass, thanks for joining us this time again, as usual.
Thank you.
Allie, thank you for subbing in for us because Corey likes spiders and Amazon for some reason.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. And we'll catch you next time. So say goodnight, Cass.
Good night, Cass.